Welcome. I want to go back to here on the police department's narratives and data sheets. It's about 500 pages. I want to keep reading it. Where I left off, I don't know, but I don't think I've read this because it's stating how old all these guys are, so I'm just going to read it from here, okay? On the 16th of November 2022, approximately 3 p.m. Idaho State Police Investigation Lieutenant Caitlin and I interviewed blank blank. The interview took place at his parents' house located at blank in Boise, Ada County, Idaho. During the interview, blank stated the following. Okay, this is evidence Idaho police took. Okay, his residence at school was blank in Moscow, Idaho. His residence is approximately 200 to 300 feet from the location of the homicide. It had been a little nerve-wracking going outside and into his apartment. He knew some of the homicide victims. He knew Maddie, Madison Mogan. He knew Xana. He had met Kaylee the night before the homicide, but did not realize she was one of the victims until later. He did not know the male victim, Ethan Chapin. At the point of the interview, blank and the mother blank arrived home and was present with a reminder of the interview. He had known Mogan since their freshman year, and they were in the same pledge class for the fraternities and sororities of the camp. Mogan had dated some of blank friends and had positive interactions with blank's girlfriend in the past. Blank had classes with Mogan and they had done homework there together periodically. He and Mogan had a lot of friends in common as well. He supposed he had met Goncalves prior to that night, but did not recall specifically. He had never met Canodle's boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, before. Blank heard Chapin belonged to the blank fraternity. Chapin was also a year younger than blank in school. Mogan was dating one of blank fraternity brothers and blank whom blank believed lived in Boise. Blank had spoken to blank, bloody ridiculous this, earlier in the day on November 16th. A nice guy he had and Mogan were mostly just on and off friends. So someone has a relationship possibly with Mogan, an on and off relationship. Just answer my door. I'll just be a second, guys, just having a coffee before I pick my baby up. I just want to say to you guys out there to be mindful of what, be mindful of these cases and what people are putting out there, you know, especially over the situation with the assassination at the minute of that person, because unless you have documentation and you're showing it, you're into this political agenda. As far as I'm concerned about Brian Wright, he is, because he was the only one who had the case notes on Charlie Kirk's assassinate, right? And I pulled him up on the comments because I never do like this, but at the end of the day, right, you know, you get a lot of money and revenue to tell the truth. As far as I'm concerned, tell the truth. Don't lie to your audience. Sitting in the car pretending to read documents that weren't existed. Okay. But people will take that in and think it's real, you know. Saturday night, the 12th of November, and into Sunday morning, Mogan at the corner club, Mogan and Goncalves were all going to the bar to go to John Alley, and asked Blank if he wanted to go with them. On the way to John's Alley, Mogan and Goncalves decided to get food from the grub truck instead. Blank was at the grub truck with them, but hanging out in the back because he was not getting any food. Someone in a silver sedan picked up Mogan. Alright. See, this driver is a bit sus to me, you know. Picked up Mogan and Goncalves. He assumed it was one of their friends. Blank told Mogan, "Do have a good night." Blank designated driver shift had already ended at approximately 2 a.m. Blank had a good coat on, so he walked home. Yes, we've read this. I'm trying to think where up to. Okay. This was to get a biological sample on the 18th of the 11th, 22. Okay. On the 17th of the 22nd, 2022, at approximately 1 p.m, Idaho State Police Detective Lieutenant Caitlin Dye conducted an interview with Blank. The interview in reference was the murder of Madison Mogan and the rest of them, right? November 13th, the interview was placed in front of a residence located at blank Boise. Blank reported the following during. His roommate had a dart tournament in the Moose Lodge, which was next door to the corner club. At approximately 5 p.m. to 6 p.m, he went to the Moose Lodge and started drinking. He learned of the incident through a vandal alert that afternoon, which explained the situation. An hour after receiving this first vandal alert, he received another which told him there was no suspect to remain vigilant. Third alert was sent the evening and he was at work. He had details how many victims there were. Interview with another person, not sure who. Professor of Marketing Blank. He and Mogan and Blank are in marketing at the university and work together in group projects. I'm not sure if I've read this out. They were working on project for blank, which was a cafe in town and Morgan worked for. See, she could be doing her work essays or anything, and someone was in there stalking her, eyeing her up, waiting for the opportunity. He worked for blank at blank in Moscow, and he worked for blank for 8 years in total. As he transferred colleges, he moved stores with blank. His boss said the store carried K-bar knives, but they were an older clearance item. He didn't know what kind of sheath the K-bar would come with. He didn't know Kaylee Goncalves and didn't remember seeing her at the corner club. He didn't know any of the victims besides Morgan. Morgan was the only person from the house he spoke with, and it was mainly related to class projects. He'd only talked to Morgan approximately 4 to 5 times throughout the school year. Mainly used text messaging to communicate. He read us the group texts Morgan and him used. The last text from Morgan was a photo and a text message at the corner club. Responded the following day, which was the last text in the thread. He was attending his last semester at the university and thought Morgan was going to finish in 2023. Oh gosh, so sad. He started college in Treasure Valley Community College, transferring to Utah Tech University, and from 2017 to 2019 he started attending University of Idaho. In 2019 he joined the Army Reserve Culinary Specialists. After 2 years he went back to University of Idaho to finish his schooling. He never heard of any issues Morgan had with anyone. He did not know if Morgan used any narcotics. They never spoke of anything personal. He didn't have a car and walked wherever he needed to go around campus. He rode the bus. So, there you go. He did not have any injuries to his hands, arms or face. At approximately 1:30 p.m, consented to DNA sample and off he went. Okay. This was noted on the 11th month 2022. Okay, but then from date 17/11/22 is listed first, so I'm not sure if it was logged and written up like this on the 21st or the 17th. Okay, I think the 17th is the date they've interviewed the people. 22nd is the date he's logged it into the system. Okay. On November 17, 2020, Idaho Police State Detective Victoria M. Goosh and Moscow Police Department Sergeant Dustin Blaker interviewed blank at her residence, blank, Boise, Idaho County, Idaho. The interview occurred with blank and the attorney present via computer, audio, video, and the attorney in Moscow, Lathrop County, Idaho. The interview was also audio recorded by me, Sergeant Blaker. The thumb drive of the interview was assigned tag number and then case management. On the 2nd of November, the audio file of the interview had been downloaded onto a thumb drive on the 18th. The thumb drive was maintained in my sole care and custody until into evidence on November 20th. Witness is a female, born 21, not Hispanic. That's good to know. Evidence, no. So, thumb drive of the IV On the 17th or 22nd, approximately 12:30, myself and Idaho Police Detective Victoria Goosh and the Moscow Police Department Sergeant Blaker interviewed blank at her residence blank blank, Boise. The interview occurred with blank an attorney present on the computer blank. Interview had been downloaded onto a thumb drive on November 18, 2022. The thumb drive was maintained by my sole care and custody until entered into evidence on the 20th. Blank stated the following. She is a sophomore at the University of Idaho studying pre-physical therapy. She had been in the University of Idaho student for years, freshman and this year. She had been residing at the residence where the incident occurred since August 22. So it said. She had a solicitor there, Dylan. That's not good. I'm just going to be a minute. Fred Blagg and she moved into the residence, and the other female roommates she knew through their sorority, Blank, Maddie and Oksana, prior to this year, and had also met Kaylee before, but Kaylee belonged to another sorority. She explained Kaylee was a senior in school. She described Oksana as being a year older than herself. She also described the two additional friends, Blank and Blank, but they were not residents at the home. Blank explained Blank introduced her to Oksana last year. Both Blank and Blank reside in Blank Apartments, an apartment complex on campus that houses sorority members. She described the layout of the residence and where each of the roommates resided, paraphrased based on Blank's description of their residence. When you walk in, there is a door. There is a downstairs with a bathroom and Blank bedroom. When you walk into the door, there is a hallway with her bathroom and kitchen and a side sliding door, and upstairs is Kaylee's room and bathroom and Maddie's room. Oksana is on the same floor as her bedroom. Initially, she was asked to describe what the girls did on 12th of November, but she described there was a ball on the Friday night on the 11th, and pie a something sorority ball, which she briefly attended. She explained she started drinking at 4 p.m. on the 11th. So she was hungover, drinking again, on the 12th probably. There's also somebody who said she was totally sober that night, and then the night after she said she was totally drunk. So it's a confusing statement. Their dates were FIG fraternity members. Kaylee Goncalves was blank date of the ball. Someone's date. Someone described how she got home on Friday night by using an Uber from the Pie Ball to their residence. She explained she and her roommates normally have blank as their Uber driver, but not on the night of the 11th. It's still questioning that Uber. She does not remember the name of the Uber driver on the Friday night. This was around 8 p.m. She explained she and her roommates trust blank. She advised the party initially transitioned to the blank, but she got bored and wanted to go home. It was she, Maddie, and Xana and Ethan regarding the roommates who attended the ball. Eventually the group from the blank pie event transitioned to blank and the other roommate's house, and there was a party that continued there until the early hours of the November 12th, Saturday morning. Apparently they all bailed there at 1:30 in the morning. That was the last sighting that there with Xana. She advised the other individuals that came to the house on the Friday night were blank. Initially she said it was blank, but corrected herself to say it was not blank but blank who came to the house, and blank as well as herself. They were consuming large amounts of alcohol, playing games, playing music. She went to bed a little after 12 a.m. and then added she went to bed sometime between 12 a.m. to half 12 a.m. That bed a little later than the morning of November. Eventually she advised Maddie came home and eventually Kaylee, but she was not certain about Kaylee was when she was in bed. She doesn't know where Kaylee went. She then explained on the Saturday morning, November 12th, at approximately 12:15. She then corrected the time to 11:44 a.m. The roommates went together to get coffee at the store and get alcohol. Why she had to correct herself then? Had champagne from the previous weekend, which was, she explained, was You of I Parents weekend. So sorry, I've lost my place. She explained the plans for that Saturday night included a blank at K Ferrari house party on campus. Blank explained Kaylee was not going to this function. Now I believe these functions have like a list of people so people don't crash the parties and stuff. It's very well organised. These kids now proper sensible, you know. And Blank further explained at this point, Maddie was at this function but left the function to go to the club with Kaylee. Now, her discrepancies and her fall back on stuff could, now I'm being very kind, could be the trauma. It could be that she's forgotten, blacked out of all what's happened the night before, you know, stuff like that. I mean, she's seen them walk past her door. Apparently, I've been shitting me pants, but Blank explained she had assignments due. I would have been phoning the police. Due in her psychology 215 course. So she posted the assignment it must have been really quiet, whoever it was. So she posted the assignment at approximately 10:12 p.m. She believes she then left the house approximately 10 p.m. When Blank left the house, Kaylee was still there with one of her friends. However, Blank does not know the friend's name. She described the friend was female and was nice. Okay. After leaving the house, she saw Maddie between the residence and the Blank, and Maddie was holding a box of White Claw while she was walking towards the house. She advised she talked to Maddie, and then Blank continued to the Blank Kai's function. She believed Maddie was going to go back there to their residence to get ready to go to the club with Kaylee. Sergeant Blake asked Blank to give more details about the route she took when she encountered Maddie, and she provided those details in this interview. She explained when she got to the Blank Kai function, she wanted to meet up with Xana and Blank and called Xana on her cell phone to find out which apartment they were in. And she was told they were in apartment Blank. Others who were at the apartments Blank at this time were Ethan, Blank, Xana, Blank explained she and Blank were going in and out of the fraternity lodge together for most parts of the night. Blank explained there were not a lot of people at this function. She further explained after she met up with Blank and the two of them went to the Blank apartment, she was with Ethan Chapin and Xana during that part of the night. And Blank explained Ethan had been trying to get contact with his sister, Blank, because she had been upset about something and he was worried about her, but Blank did not know what the issue was. She remembered Blank told her brother she had not been answering her cell phone because she had been sleeping. She described Ethan as being a very protective of his sister, as well as protective of all the roommates. It's so sweet. She described the group of them then went to visit Blank, who she had previously met through Xana, and Blank was also there, including Blank. She, Blank, and Blank and Blank were also there, as well as Blank and Blank. When asked how much alcohol she had consumed, she explained she had been playing Rage Cage, which she described was a drinking game. She denied there was any drug use, stated Xana and Ethan used Blank. She advised neither Maddie or Kaylee did drugs. She explained she nor Blank ever touched stuff. Well, that could be true. The stuff in the house could be from other people, couldn't it? Easily enough. They don't seem like cocos. I don't know. She described the alcohol used at blank and blank residence, which included blank consuming a whole bog, in which she also consumed some of the bog based on the Google search I conducted relative to writing this report. A bog is an alcoholic beverage which is taking an empty gallon container and filling it halfway with water and vodka and enough to blow your block off. The cocktail is often referred to as bog, and the nickname doubles as an acronym and stands for drink's full name, Black Outrage Gallon. Okay. Consume alcohol, and because blank intoxicated condition, blank advised she invited blank to come back to her residence with her to watch movies, and because of blank intoxicated condition, she called a sober row, which she describes as an involving sober freshman fraternity member who is designated driver for fraternity and sorority members who are consuming alcohol to drive them home safely. Very wise. She advised it was only she and blank that went back to the residence using sober row. She did not believe anyone else was home. Okay. When the two of them got home, which she believed was sometime between 1:15 and 1:30 a.m. So she's changed the time. Do you know what I mean? She was intoxicated, and because of that she does not remember what time she actually was, but that's fine. She further advised she made popcorn in the kitchen and she and blank watched Vampire Diaries together. Approximately 20 minutes later, blank returned home. The three of them laid down and continued to watch Vampire Diaries. She believes blank may have walked home, and then she advised she does not know what time blank and blank went to bed. She had already gone to bed and does not know when blank may have left or when blank went to bed. Approximately 2 to 2:30, she awakened because Maddie and Kaylee arrived home from the grub shop food, and they had a mac and cheese, which blank explained they normally got. All four of them were together, which included blank and Maddie and Kaylee. Blank advised they were taking selfies. All of the girls talked about getting grub from the grub shop. She did not believe Exana and Ethan were home because their bedroom door was open. Oh, okay. This explains a little bit more. She did not see them and discussed where they might have mistaken because this fact, and then she said she was certain she saw their door open and they were not home. She then went to bed, which she advised was after texting Uber driver. Blank looked at her phone and determined what time she'd had texted the Uber driver and said her phone said 3:10 a.m. But after further discussion, Blank admitted she was some confused about whether she was using Moscow or Boise time and explained her timeline may be off an hour because of this issue. Specifically, during the interview referencing Boise time instead of providing the time it would have been in Moscow when these events occurred on the 13th of November. She explained she uses Snapchat as well as her cell phone to communicate with her friends. She advised if there is a lack of text communications on her cell phone, it is because she had transitioned to using Snapchat app for her method of communication. She advised her her login information of Snapchat is blank and her password blank is either blank, and she denied knowing her roommate's passwords to their phones. So her timeline could be 3 o'clock. She could have mistakenly not seen Ethan and I don't get how she not seen them two. Doesn't make sense up to now. She advised Blank and the Uber driver is in his 30s, is married and has one child. She advised all of the girls knew him and liked him. Doesn't sound like a predator to me, but he did there, you know. I suppose if he's married and has got children, he's not got time to go stalking teenagers, do you know what I mean? Blank advised she is not certain if she stayed awake to watch more Vampire Diaries episodes or if she went to sleep. Wow. She was not certain if she locked her bedroom door, and she was not certain if she locked the sliding door because she was the one who usually did. And if she's intoxicated and she's new to the house, it's not a good idea. That's a lot of guilt on your shoulders for that girl. Because she was one who usually did, but she also volunteered in her statement that she believed Moscow was a safe place, so the sliding door was not always locked. Well, that's your mistake, darling, it really is. Girls, lock your door, lock your fucking door, please. I have to say this, everyone, because you know I don't know who's watching, but you need to keep locking those doors and windows. She does not remember if anyone locked the sliding glass door before she went to bed. She was the first to go to bed ahead of her roommates. So she was the first to go to bed. So the door could have been opened again anyway. So she explained that she previously had a lot of dreams. She must have been the one who smoked and went outside a lot, you know. She had been kidnapped in her dreams, and she further explained these types of dreams started in high school. Funny that, innit? Dreams always freak you out, don't they? Further, she explained the types of dreams started in high school. She knew they were dreams, and she would let those things happen in her dreams. You can't control it, love. Because she realised they were dreams, she advised she does not suffer from anxiety and deny prior life trauma other than divorced parents. Blanca, it's a premonition thing, that is a premonition for you. Blanca explained she was awakened to a noise sometime. Is that 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. lady? You know, if Boise time. And she was asked to explain the amount of alcohol she consumed before going to bed, and she again explained while she was playing Rage Cage, she included White Claw, a part of the Borg, and maybe 2 or 3 other White Claws at home. She denied drinking after she left the house. Okay. She advised she had been consumed. Well, she's not that intoxicated, she knows that. Okay. She advised she had been consuming alcohol until 1:15 to 1:30 a.m. on the Sunday morning. She denied drinking any more alcohol after she and Blank got home. At 4:22, she confirmed this information by looking at her text communications on her cell phone. She texted Kaylee asking her what's going on. She advised her phone said 5:22, which she advised would have been 4 4:22 in Moscow time. She advised around 4 a.m. and 4:20 she heard Kaylee singing and playing music. We heard who she believed Kaylee walking up stairs, and Blank advised she heard Kaylee say, "Someone's here," and she sounded frantic. Blank described Kaylee's tone as somewhere between talking and yelling. She believed it was Kaylee who was walking up the stairs with Murphy. She said she heard who she believed to be Kaylee running down the stairs. She advised Murphy was barking at the time. Blank advised she had been blank all the way to the sentence. Next statement. She does not believe Murphy is normally a barker. She further states she believed this was Kaylee who was running down the stairs after she heard her say someone's here. She further explained she does not know if she actually heard this or whether she was drunk and did not actually hear any of this. She heard the footsteps of who she believed were Kaylee, which must have been his aunt. She explained all the girls wore Doc Martens and that it was believed she was hearing Kaylee coming down the stairs wearing Doc Martens because of the sound of the footsteps coming downstairs. Blank called Blank at Fort 19, then Xana, Kaylee at 4:20 and then Blank again before she went to Blank's room. Blank then explained when she first opened the door and she said she did not see anyone. The second time when she opened the door she heard who she believed to be Kaylee crying, and Blank believed Kaylee was in the second floor bathroom. Then she heard a male voice, which she stated she had never heard before, say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Blank believed the unidentified male was in the bathroom and with the person who was crying, Xana. He'd already sort of, I don't know what happened here. She believes Kaylee who was the one crying, and Blank stated that now she has gathered additional information. She now believes it was probably Xana who was crying. At the moment of hearing the crying, she stated she believed it was Kaylee who was crying. She advised she knows the male's voice was not Ethan's voice. She described the last episode of Vampire Diaries, and she remembered it was two males rescuing a female. She explained it was not violent. She advised the male figure in the last episode was wearing all black, but explained it was the normal for the series. I've got no idea what she's talking about. She was not certain whether she heard Murphy barking during the first time she opened the door, but she advised it was probably he was barking, but Murphy was moving away from the house. She described Murphy was a puppy and Blank had just met him in August. She could not describe Murphy being skittish. Bedroom downstairs to the bathroom. Blank in the bedroom. Blank advised she continued to call and text her roommates but received no answers. She provided the time she called and texted her roommates, and the time span she advised would have been 4 4:20 a.m. to 4:27 a.m. She advised she never thought about an intruder, and in her mind she stated she was not processing what was occurring as a threat. She advised she believed the male was directing his conversation of who she believed was Kaylee. She advised she did not believe the male was directing that statement to her. In discussing why the offender did not harm her, it was because that it was possible the male knew her and wanted to protect her, and she said she understood that was possible, but she denied knowing who the suspect was. That's a weird thing to say. Blank further explained the Snapchatted Ethan but received no answer from Ethan. Though Blank thought Ethan was still either at Blank Kai or was at home, she was not certain. The third time Blank opened the door, she said her vision was blurry or fuzzy. So this might have been after the phone. Well, it's not marrying in with the calling, if you know what I mean. Fuzzy and blurry, and she advised she saw a figure of someone that was dressed in all black, and they were masked, and he was holding an item of what she initially perceived was a vacuum, but she said that it did not make sense to her. She described the suspect as not being muscular, but as skinny toned, like a basketball player. She further described him as being taller than 5'10", frame at least a 3, and she would have been 6 in height. She advised he had to have heard her call Kaylee and Xana, and she thought he would have had to have heard her calling for them, and she was confused as to why he did not come to her room. She described the item of the suspect was holding, advised it was like a cylinder, and she remembered the cop talking about a bow. She so was trying to ascertain if she saw was in fact shaped like a bow. Blank further stated she thought that maybe it was a firefighter because of what Blank told her about seeing a firecracker. She advised he would have been approximately 3 feet away from her, 3 yards probably, and she believed she saw him walk out the back sliding door. He had looked at her before walking out of the door. She was not certain if he could see her whole body or just her head. At 4:22, then Blank corrected her time and stated at 4:23 she advised she text Blank and they conversed about someone wearing all black, and Blank said something to the effect of, "What the fuck? Why is Xana wearing all black?" Blank explained she was not certain if it had been dreaming this or if it was real. So she saw sort of vivid dreaming as well. Blank explained she saw a suspect holding something believed to be a cylinder shape and also shaped of a triangle at the bottom. Maybe when we saw the cylinder what the police got out of the home of Cowburgers, it could have been something like that, used as a weapon. It's very, very, very heavy instrument to use, you know. She advised the suspect was approximately 3 feet away from her and looked at her as he was walking up the slide. She said she saw his eyebrows. Approximately 4:23, she texted Blank to tell her she saw a masked suspect in the house. Blank responded at approximately 4:25, telling her to come to her bedroom, and that it's better than being alone. Blank then left her bedroom after opening her door for the 4th time and ran to Blank downstairs. Blank advised when she left the bedroom, she looked down the hallway of Xana's bedroom and she could see Xana lying there on her back in her underwear. But she thought at the time Xana was passed out. Blank stated she never went to Xana's room and she could see Xana from the hallway as she was running to get to Bethany's bedroom. She advised she was too scared to go. She could only see Xana from the hallway as she was running to get to Blank's bedroom. She advised she was too scared to go into Xana's room and she knew Blank was awake. And she knew to go there because she was scared. She saw Xana was wearing her underwear and she explained Xana was comfortable enough with her roommates that she would wear her underwear around them. I've got 10 minutes and I've got to go, so I'm going to ram this in. So this was not unusual. When asked about lightning conditions inside the residence, she advised that possibly Xana's lights was on, or the party lights were on, because it looked like they were unplugged to me. And that is how she was able to see Xana, because otherwise she would not have been able to see her lying there on the floor without any lights being on. She was not certain if the bathroom lights were on, but she was certain of the lights were on, if any. She advised that Xana did not say anything. Blank stated she did not think anything was wrong. She later offered she may have been able to see Xana lying on the floor because they also had a sensitivity light, and it could have been she was able to see Xana from that sensitivity light. Yeah, because there was no lights on. I don't know how she's seen it. She explained she had been trying to determine what was real from anything that she had been talking about to Sergeant Blaker and myself. She advised she knew the time with Blank and Kaylee and Maddie were real because she had the video of them together. She was not certain how Blank and Blank got home that day. She further explained she had been trying to piece together things because some things do not make sense to her. Don't make sense to us, love. She stated that she is being truthful, but some of what she has been discussing she is not certain is factual. She has been working through to try and remember what happened. Blank was asked if the female who was crying was saying anything, and she advised no, the female was only crying and the male was only one talking. She described the item the suspect was holding as a cylinder. So a cylinder's like, round and a tube, type of thing. I'm thinking like that. I don't know. And it has like a pressing on the bottom. I swear she could have got mistaken. She could not remember if the lights were on or off. When she encountered the male suspect, she advised she does not know if this was even something she saw or something she dreamed. She advised the last time she saw Xana was at blank house at approximately 11:04. Confirmed this by checking her cell phone. Xana had been holding a White Claw in her hand in the photo. She was at blank at 12:45. She further advised that Xana and Ethan do not stay at Ethan's house with any frequency because Ethan's grades. He could not reside at the fraternity. He had his own apartment, but she does not know where his apartment is because she had never been there. She knows Kaylee and Maddie were home when she went to bed and blank, and from when she saw Xana lying on the floor, but she was not certain about Ethan was home. How did she not know Xana was dead as well, with all the blood on her face? And why is it when the police officers state that to her, she goes, not anymore, before they determine they're all deceased? It's so peculiar, you know. I'm going to leave it here for now, guys, because I've got to go and pick my daughter up. But yeah, what do you guys think? I'm going to follow this up now. I'm going to be posting it. I'm going to be posting these out together, so it's a lot of information. Take your time, you're looking through it. I don't necessarily notice stuff that others do, so please let me know in the comments. I'll be so grateful. Thank you.